Meanwhile, may I request all the delegates to come and be seated? The session is about to start. Please.
Namaskar and good evening. Welcome to session 2. It's an interesting session because it talks about three things. It talks about ASEAN-Bharat relationship. It talks about manufacturing. It talks about collaboration. I think three important aspects of things we're going to look at. We've got great speakers. I mean, three great speakers, I would say. I'm going to be speaking last. I think their bios will come up as they speak on. Let me have the introduction slide, please. You can go to the next slide. Yeah. So the topics which are there on the screen, we're going to have strategic approaches to manufacturing collaboration. This will be spoken by Ms. Srimati Pelomi Tripathi. She's also the Deputy Chief of Mission and currently the Charge d'Affaires of the Embassy of Bharat in Thailand. Second is going to be speaking manufacturing collaboration, taking to new heights. This is going to be spoken by Sri Isara Vungiskalkit. He's the chairperson of Metropol. Metropol is the Asia's largest sugar manufacturing company, a company which is very well known for its practices. I'm really looking forward to his speech. Third, we are having a growth and opportunities in manufacturing. This is being spoken by Sri Sanan Angubolkul. He is the chairman of the Thai Chamber of Commerce. And I'll finally speak about the competitive advantage of Bharat in manufacturing and technology. Let me make some initial remarks, then I will go by the speakers taking on the session. Can you go to the next slide, please? Oh, yeah. Thank you. Sure. That's my CV. I'm not going to be touching on that. So if you look at the ASEAN-Bharat relationship, it dates back to close to about 31 years young now. I think India adopted Act East policy in 2014, which really triggered the maximum collaboration efforts post that era. And if you also look at the trade between ASEAN and Bharat, for the first time in 2022, we crossed $100 billion, which was a remarkable milestone, I would say. Last year, I think for the March ending financial year FY23, it was 131.5 billion. I mean, it accounts for something like 17-18% of the India's global trade, which is, I would say, is a remarkable progress we have made in the last, I would say most of it happened in the last 5-7 years. And if you look at FDI, ASEAN to Bharat, in the last 20 years, we got close to about 117 billion. But if you look at the outward direct investment from Bharat into ASEAN in the last 3 years, we are close to about 55 billion. Of course, a lot of things, almost close to 50 billion has gone into Singapore. And the trade also between India and Singapore is very high. And next comes even Thailand and other countries. There are, in terms of economic policy driving bodies, there are three bodies which are relevant. The first one is the AEM India, which is primarily composing of the commerce ministers of each country, which primarily works on the economic policies. The second one is the one which works on the free trade agreements. The third one is more a business to business connect. Those are the three bodies which predominantly works on ASEAN-Bharat relationship. And there are two important trade acceleration roadways which are there. One is the India-Myanmar-Thailand trilateral highway. Other one is the Paladin multimodal transit system. These are really going to foster the trade. And India keeps ASEAN very important from its regional stability perspective. So India has also got a vision plan known as Sagar to support all ASEAN countries. And there's also a lot of cultural exchange, which has now been started in terms of ensuring person-to-person exchange as well. Recently, I think the Honorable Prime Minister of Bharat, Mr. Narendra Modi ji, he was there in September 7th in the 20th ASEAN India Summit, where he unleashed a 12-point point program for developing the India ASEAN, Bharat ASEAN partnership to much larger level. I think that some of the speakers will be covering that. Uh, with these initial remarks, I would probably set the stage on. We have got four different topics spread over to cover the collaboration as well as the manufacturing as well as the technology aspects. I'll first request Srimati Palomi Tripathi to deliver a speech in terms of the topic given to her. We will have the Q&A session at the end. We will leave enough time for it. Uh, I'm not going to be reading the speaker's bio fully in the interest of time because last session we saw that the question answers were more. So I'll probably do a shorter synopsis, which I already spoke about it. So the CVs are going to be on the screen.
Namaste, Swadika, good afternoon. It's my honor and privilege to be part of this panel and speak to this distinguished audience today. And Raghuji, thank you for the introduction. I would like to briefly touch upon three areas. One is how important the manufacturing sector in the economy of Bharat is, what we have done in the recent years. Then we will move on to ASEAN-India relationships and then try to sort of see the areas of collaboration in the going forward. Those areas that I indicate are by no means to be exhaustive, but to indicate areas and to start a discussion in those areas. With that, I will just the first slide is basically about the broad facts about the manufacturing sector of Bharat. And uh, the manufacturing sector of Bharat is accounts for about 17%. Earlier it was 15, 16. Last year it has increased, and government has been actively engaging in improving the prospects of manufacturing, both for economic diversification, self-sustainability, and for job creation. The target is to reach 25% of GDP from manufacturing by 2030. The intense focus has also led to increase in merchandise export, reaching a record high, and the target is to reach $1 trillion within a few years' time. So the point that is to be remembered here, to my understanding, is that thriving manufacturing is crucial for prosperous Bharat and for Bharat to become a developed country by 2047. Uh, in the next slide, I have just listed out the major policy interventions that have happened. I'm not going to elaborate them very much. Through Atmanirbhar Bharat mission, we are trying to seek self-sustainability in critical sectors like defense, renewable power, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, chemicals, to name a few. The PLI schemes have been launched around in the cluster of 40 sectors, which are showing it results. The point that I would like to emphasize here is that the improvements that Bharat has made in the ease of doing business. We have improved our ranking from 2015 to 2020 by 80 places, which is remarkable. To put it in some context, some of the ASEAN countries, for example, even Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, have higher ranks than us, but our improvement has been absolutely spectacular, and much of the credit that goes to these very progressive manufacturing focused, industry focused policies that the government has taken. It has one of the key drivers is also the global scenario. The manufacturers everywhere are trying to diversify after the disruption of supply chains that we have seen in the aftermath of the pandemic. And both ASEAN and Bharat stand to gain, provided we can leverage our strength and negotiate with the rest of the world as to bring manufacturing and production capacities to our respective countries. Coming to Bharat ASEAN Comprehensive Strategic Partnership, which started as dialogue partners for ASEAN in 1992. It was a sectoral dialogue partnership, sorry to give the correct terminology. Then we moved on to become dialogue partners, summit level partnership, strategic partnership in 2012, and now it has been elevated to a comprehensive strategic partnership, which is the highest level of partnership that ASEAN as a bloc has with its partners. So it and the focus that we give in our relationship is with ASEAN is very evident, that the kind of high level interactions we always have with ASEAN as a country, and also the individual ASEAN member states in this region. Um, so I just wanted to show the 12-point proposal that our Honorable Prime Minister has presented at the last ASEAN Bharat Summit in September in Jakarta, but I cannot show the document, so I'll try to briefly touch upon the highlights of the document and what it means for the manufacturing sector. So it focuses on deepening cooperation between India and ASEAN in the most strategic manner. And the highlight is enhanced connectivity, which includes creation of a multimodal connectivity and economic corridor that links Southeast Asia, Bharat, West Asia, and Europe. It is expected to boost trade and investment opportunities for businesses across the spectrum. The second highlight is our partnership in digital transformation, how we manufacture, what we manufacture. And there is announcement of a digital future fund. India being a very strong IT power, we have a lot of potential in this sector to partner with ASEAN. There is research support, there is acting together to advocate the causes of global south as we talk about new normative frameworks for regulating technologies, investments, green economy, etc. He also proposed collaboration in mission life, which is very relevant for green economy, affordable medicines. Pharmaceutical is a sector which is very important for India, and through our initiative with ASEAN, that sector can uh, also gain. Both for both Bharat and ASEAN. Secure business environment, he has touched upon a lot of conventional and non-traditional security threats, including maritime security, cyber security, etc., which are very important for secure business environment. Trade with ASEAN, actually, I will not spend more time on this because Raghuji, while introducing the topic, has touched upon mostly these points. The only point is that we have a huge trade deficit with ASEAN. We import a lot of things, including some consumables, raw materials, intermediates, etc. We have a trade deficit, and we also have a free trade agreement, which is also coming up for a review process. Uh, I have included this slide to demonstrate. This is a paragraph from the ASEAN Leaders Declaration uh, on ASEAN as an epicentrum of growth. And the para is called Preparing for Tomorrow's Economy. I just interestingly saw a lot of convergences between what we think and what ASEAN thinks. So I highlighted the portions which are relevant, where we are looking to develop, for example, skill development. Skilling is an important part of our upgrading our manufacturing sector. So would be for the ASEAN countries, increasing productivity, sustainable investment destination, science and technology research, digital technology adoption and innovation, etc. So I just thought that this para will demonstrate. Then I have drawn up this list, and as I told, this is to sort of encourage discussion rather than being an exhaustive list, all encompassing. So one is reliable and resilient supply chain. I think we are, in a way, going through a re-globalization and deglobalization. Many trends are overlapping with each other. We are looking at not just efficiency and cost, the manufacturers worldwide, but they are looking at sustainability, resilience, and reliability while sourcing and while selling also. So therefore, ASEAN and Bharat partnership in this context is going to be crucial. Then we speak about the global value chains. As Bharat's manufacturing base improves and diversifies, we would also like to increase and enhance our interlinkages both forward and backward with the global value chains, for example, semiconductors, electronics, etc. Some of the ASEAN countries are actually quite integrated with global value chains, but some are not. And we have a lot of potential to actually partner with ASEAN in having better integration, both regional value chains and global value chains. Digital innovation is going to be key. Digitalization of the economy for resilience, flexibility, and efficiency across the sector, which we and ASEAN both are looking for, and how we collaborate is going to be game changing. Digital economy, ASEAN has very ambitious agenda wanting to add $1 trillion worth of to digital economy in next 10 years. So we also have a very ambitious agenda, so we can collaborate there. And logistics and connectivity, we have already spoken. Industry 4.0 could be transformative, could be disruptive, but we need to stick together with each other, mostly developing countries, to have a better deal with the developed world and collaborate with each other in implementing those changes that are about to come. So with this, I will stop because my time is up, and happy to share more thoughts when we have the question answer session.
Thank you, ma'am, for sticking to your time. Now I request Dr. Sri Isara Mungusalket. He is the chairman of the Metropole. As I told you, Metropole is one of the most admired sugar company, the largest in Asia, the third largest in the world. And they have really expanded on consolidation capacities with very innovative methods. You'll see an interesting presentation from you. Over to you, sir.
Very good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to be here and at the third World Congress. So, and welcome to Thailand. Today, I'm going to talk for my experience to be in the sugar industry mainly, but at the same time, the topic was about manufacturing collaboration. So I think Thailand and ASEAN, we have a Thailand have a relationship with India for 75 years, and ASEAN also have the relationship for 30 years. But economic community of 10 countries of ASEAN have population about 680 million people. Why? Okay, yeah, uh, yeah, thank you. Why the population of India is 1.4 billion or more, and the GDP of ASEAN is about 3.8 billion, a trillion dollars, and India is about 3.4. So actually, India is growing very fast, but ASEAN also going at a high pace if compared to the West. Uh, Also, we are very pleased with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi that called for the Act East policy, which is very good for collaboration with ASEAN. Lately, in September 7, we have 2020 ASEAN India Summit meeting in Jakarta and talk about the transaction, investment, and chain linkage, together with relaxed in trade, intra-trade regulation. For the investment in Thailand, yes, Thailand target industry in 10 category. Number one is uh, the agriculture and food biotechnology, which both countries between Thailand and India, we have almost similar industry. But I think the India are very advanced in the medical and industry, which is one of the largest manufacturing in the world. So I think the collaboration is also in the creative industry, which is India also very high skill. Uh, Actually, one of the best in the IT engineer. So that Thailand need collaboration to to upgrade our system. Another one that I think we can cooperate is the machinery industry. I have been in the sugar industry a long time, and the machinery that we now buy from India is about the ethanol equipment, about the boiler, about the generator. But at the same time, we can export our machinery to India also at a high quality in a milling operation of the sugar mill and the drying system, drying bagasse so cooperation between the sugar industry linkage will be uh, very high recommended. On the vehicle industry, which is Thailand is a hub for the EV now. In EV, we have so many brands from China, from Japan, and from Europe also. So we are a hub of manufacturing of the vehicle in this region. We export a lot. But I think the most important I would like to address is the IT and digital industry, which is I would like to emphasize that we need the cooperation from the Indian industry so that your engineer is one of the top in the world, so that we need to upgrade our English also. So when we talk about English, we need education. So cooperation or set up the education school institute in Thailand, I think it's a good potential. And also we have very high number of Indian community in Thailand already. So so I think it's not difficult. At the moment, our new government, trying to reduce all this regulation uh, uh, to ease the investment in Thailand. So, and another one is that the high industry can invest or cooperate in India is the food processing industry, fishery processing, cold chain, logistic, and building material and infrastructure. I think this is a high potential for both countries. Uh, that especially India have a high growth um, uh, economics. Another one that we can collaborate is that in the sugar industry. If, as you can see, the productivity of our two countries is very low, the red zone in the lower part. But if you compare to Australia, Malaysia, and Indonesia, Indonesia, even Philippines, our productivity of labor is much lower. So, and we need to upgrade our efficiency on the system, on uh, the integration of the from the farm to the factory, and also on the logistic for to the consumer. So this is the area that I think we are very hopeful that also India have a very high skill using underground water, up to 60% or more of underground water. Thailand is only, we use only 20%. We are not very good with that. But currently we use the drip irrigation mainly to save the water. On the, we used to have a joint research and collaboration with the Indian sugar industry uh, well, 20 years ago in Thailand. But now when I retire, seem to lost the contact. But I would like to recommend that we should establish closer relationship on this issue. I have mentioned already about the education. We have close collaboration with China, um, technology of industry and electric polytechnic, with which our company invests in China for 30 years already. But they are very hand-on, and we learn a lot also. So we are setting up the high skill technical agriculture and manufacturing uh, uh, in Thailand. Lastly, I think the trade route collaborations between the two countries, we have to make it easier. So I think that the trade route from India through Myanmar and to Thailand, if we can facilitate that between ASEAN, uh, we can connect to ASEAN because we are in the middle of the hub of the ASEAN. So the trade route from um, um, from India and also the pass through Mandalay in Myanmar through Tak Mae Sot of Thailand is only about 1,300 kilometers. Which is, if the road can link, I think the trade, we need to ease trade facilitation and logistic costs. Lastly, our government have the very hopeful that they want to speed up the trade FTA, free trade agreement, with many countries, especially India, which we have actually bilateral for many years, but uh, uh, we have not upgraded at this moment. I think we will also ask our government to speed up with the FTA with India, and hopefully benefit to both sides. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I think the next speaker is Sri Sanan Angubolkol. He is the chairman of the Thai Chamber of Commerce. His CV is also on the screen. Please go through that. Over to you, sir.
Excellency Madam Palomi Tripathi, Deputy Chief of Mission Embassy of India, and Mr. Sushil Kumar Sharaf, the Chairman of the World Hindu Congress, Thailand. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to be here to share with you how dynamic the ASEAN manufacturing sector is and the vital role it plays in the world economy. As you know that there are 10 ASEAN nations with a combined population of 664 million, making it the third largest region in the world after China and India. And almost half of its population is below the age of 30 years, providing our investment company with the assurance of sufficient manpower. And in addition, the ASEAN economic was at 3.3 trillion US dollar in the year of 2021, making it the fifth largest economy in the world and the third in Asia, giving a clear indication that the ASEAN is a significant player in the world economy. So in the past few years, we have witnessed a serious disruption of the global supply chain due to the pandemic, geopolitical tensions, and restriction on the export of the technological product, such as the semiconductor device. Well, additionally, the war between the Russia and the Ukraine caused a serious setup in the supply chain situation. Well, the disruption was unprecedented and affected the multinational company, or we call MNC, and made them start to rethink the reliability of the supply chain. And the MNCs realized that it's no longer safe to rely on one country for most of their supply needs, giving the favorable geopolitical positioning of the ASEAN. It appears to be in an excellent position to help alleviate the supply chain problem of global company, and it has been spared of the trade conflicts between the superpower, making it an obvious choice of the MMC to relocate part of the supply chain requirement to the ASEAN region. And in addition, ASEAN has already signed a number of free trade agreement with the key partner. May I now touch on the many advantage and opportunity of manufacturing in the ASEAN and of course in Thailand as well. Some of the key advantage are: number one, a growing and dynamic domestic market. Both the ASEAN GDP and the income of middle-class households are expected to grow annually by an average of 5% through the 2030. And this makes a vibrant and robust market for consumer electronics, packaged goods, automobile, medical technology, and many others. Well, number two, technology trends, productivity improvement, and reliable supply source. Industry 4.0, including robot system and 3D printing, coupled with the artificial intelligence, or what we call VAI, will greatly improve the productivity. Singapore, Malaysia, and Vietnam are pursuing Industry 4.0 with great intensity. For example, in Vietnam, Samsung has 6,000 robots in its assembly line. And in Bac and also in Singapore, Hyundai Motor. Well, Innovation Center will incorporate AI and the Internet of Things into the car assembly process. MMC could transfer the Industry 4.0 expertise into the ASEAN region, thereby gaining twofold advantages: a quantum leap in productivity improvement and another reliable supply source. Number three, the creation of the ASEP trade area. The regional comprehensive economic partnership, or we call ASEP, is a trade agreement between countries in the Asia Pacific region. ASEAN is a member of the ASEP, and ASEP offers its number duty-free trade and smooth flow of goods and material within its region. And ASEP has a population of 2.2 billion and accounts about 30% of the global GDP, making it a tremendous advantage for any MNC to locate its factory in ASEAN. We're talking about the key opportunity, which include number one, the two-loop model. This model consists of two parts of the entire manufacturing process loop. The first loop of the process is located in one ASEAN member country where costs are low. And the second loop is located in another member country where it's located that the costs are higher, but due to the higher level of skill and knowledge required. For example, the Yokohama manufactures its component and sub-assembly in Batam in Indonesia. Parts then shipped to Singapore to have a final assembly and testing. And this process provides a huge saving in manufacturing costs. Number two, talking about the medical technology and the biopharmaceutical products. The ASEAN market for medical technology and biopharmaceutical product is growing by 5% annually and will reach combined US dollars 53 billion in the year of 2024. Well, since the region depends heavily on importing this product, it really presents a golden opportunity for medical and pharmaceutical companies to invest in the ASEAN region. Number three, the electric vehicle, the EV, will continue to grow despite the current setback of the oversupply. Once electricity charging stations are adequately set up, the demand for the EV will surge. Thailand has a long been a hub of internal combustion automotive manufacturing. EV manufacturing is already in Thailand, as the Thai government give a great support to this industry with the maximum promotion privilege. And in the Thai driver warmly welcome the EV and all the big brands from China, such as the Great Wall and also the BYD, are expanding their operation in Thailand, and EV manufacturer from Japan and Europe are coming as well. While India and the ASEAN are important trade partners, with the value of the trade reaching 131.5 billion US dollar in the fiscal year, and ASEAN trade with India account for only 11.3% of India's overall trade, which indicates that there is an ample room for improvement, and it is important for entrepreneurs and investors from India to seize the incredible opportunity and advantage in collaborating with the ASEAN manufacturing sector. By investing in ASEAN manufacturing, India can access the dynamic market of the Asia Pacific region, giving a rise of seamless integration into the global supply chain. Sustainability or the green movement demands great attention from the government and multinational companies around the world. The EU plans to introduce a carbon border tax, and it will force the company to assess the greenhouse footprint in the anti-supply chain. So many companies in ASEAN are particularly actively in green movement. So the national abundance of rubber, palm, oil, rice, sugar, cane, coconuts, and diverse fruit of vegetable in ASEAN countries, such as Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Cambodia, the Philippines, and Indonesia, always can offer an opportunity to reprocess their agricultural waste into a bio-based material, thereby contributing to sustainable projects. The multinational company and Indian company with a vast resource, technical expertise, and innovative capability could establish manufacturing facility in the ASEAN to transform the agricultural waste into green product. So that will attract the worldwide consumer. Well, all in all, Thailand is always the gateway to Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam, and of course to all the ASEAN countries. In my capacity as a chairman of the Thai Chamber of Commerce, I can assure you that we will provide full support to all the investment projects in Thailand. Well, once again, thank you for choosing Thailand for the World Hindu Congress and have a pleasant stay. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon once again. I'm going to be speaking on competitiveness of Bharat in manufacturing and technology. I'm going to speak out of my experience in chairing boards of manufacturing companies. Uh, uh, I just want to talk about, everybody knows about the competitiveness of India today in the global world. But I think I thought touch upon a few specific points and also leave some thoughts in areas where we need to improve. If you look at the advantage India primarily, I think from the manufacturing side, we got a robust demand. I think our exports last year were about 447.46 billion in FY23. When I say FY23, it's March, 12 months ending March 23. It grew by about 6% compared to the last year. The primary factor which is driving the manufacturing demand is that the middle class population of India by 2030 is supposed to be controlling about 17% of the global consumption. And that's the level of disposable income and the kind of wealth profiling which is happening across the Indian continent in terms of people having disposable income. Also, if you look at capacities, because of the great robust demand, there have been constant capacity increase across the manufacturing segment. If you look at most of the annual reports, if you read, you'll see an expansion program. This is primarily being driven by good credit availability and a good demand in terms of domestic as well as exports, as well as the whole ease of creating more capacities. I think these are three predominant factors which has triggered clearly an increase in capex. And also the policy initiatives. I think Madam Paulami talked about the PLI scheme, the Digital India, Startup India, and also the Make in India program. That has also triggered this solid growth in terms of manufacturing competitiveness, as well as growth in terms of output per se itself. And I think FDI, India has now become the destination. I think the pandemic, as we always say, any threat is an opportunity. It created a new opportunity in terms of the over concentration of capacities in a single region and a single country, and people trying to de-risk in terms of the capacities. And India became probably a choice of destination. I think even ASEAN, for that matter, is becoming a choice of destination, and India probably being the largest is just becoming the choice of destination. So these are the four things which has really propelled in terms of the original one. If you look at the manufacturing thirst, India was very low in terms of its pre-91 era. It had just focused on iron and steel, heavy machinery, and fertilizers. There was nothing much else. But then if you look at between 1991 to 2013, after the record landmark budget in 91 opening up the Indian economy for investment, the manufacturing didn't do very well because I think the amount of investment in R&D was less, but agriculture took its good amount of turn and it occupied about almost like 1/3 of our GDP. But then if you look at but service became the growth engine for us. The Y2K era really created a service engine. But to talk about the 2014 to 2020 as a golden era of Indian manufacturing. We really created capacities. We expanded our footprint in terms of both domestic and exports. And today India is targeting to do 1 trillion manufacturing by 2025 and also 1 trillion exports by 2030. That's the ambitious plan which has got. So I think 2023 and beyond, certainly with over concentration being looked at as one of the biggest risks by the investors in China, India is becoming the destination for partial capacities, if not full capacities. Of course, the PLI scheme is another factor which is driving innovation. I'll talk about that later. In terms of trend in manufacturing sector, I want to talk about that export focus, what India has got clearly. I think mobile production has doubled. I think it's grown 5 times in the last 5 years. That's one of the greatest kind of growth what it has got. And India is also solidly talk on the motherboard. Once we were the importers of motherboards, I think that was the second largest import we had. But today, India has got planning to do 101 billion of exports in the next 2 years. So that's a level of capacity we have created in the country. That's a remarkable experience, I would say, in terms of getting to putting the policy in place and inviting for a new product which is not at all done in the country. And then the IoT and Industrial 4 is driving the next trend. I mean, if you look at automobiles, India is very naturally grind to take advantage of it because we look at automobiles, 30% is software. I don't know, I'm sure it'll probably go into 50% as software. That's a level of all the products have become software driven. All companies in the world have become software companies, and India has a natural edge when it comes to software. So that's where the real challenge as well as the opportunity comes for India. The challenge is keeping all the software professionals within India, and the opportunity is creating, unleashing the talent which you naturally got in terms of, and in terms of technology, innovation, and transfer. India has done well. India has filed about uh, 50,000 patents in 22 and closed about in FY22 and 72,000 patents in FY23. But the number is not very good enough. I think you're likely to cross about 100,000 by this year. But we have to scale up to maybe double of that. That's where the innovation coefficient has come. But India has leveraged very easy policies for inward technology transfer, so you can take technology from others wherever it is needed. That has been a very good advantage in what India had possessed. In terms of sectors, opportunities, electronics is one of the biggest sector, I would say, which has got the mobile phone production I talked about. It's got a dual advantage. You have the mobile phone production, correspondingly you have the motherboards being done, you have being the components being done. So it's got a circular effect in terms of being the full-time manufacturer from end to end. Defense, I think that is one of the greatest advancement I would say we have done. I think I all want you all to clap for the Chandrayaan. We did it in $75 million, which nobody can think about really. That's the level. So defense created what is known as IDDM policy, indigenously designed, developed, and manufactured. And in the policy they've issued so far, close to about 600 industrial licenses, and they're still going strong. I think they got a solid plan. They got a $25 billion production plan in defense indigenously, including a 5 billion exports. So that's a level. I think we created enough capacities. We created enough collaborations wherever we don't have knowledge. That's the point. So wherever you don't have knowledge, you create collaboration. But wherever you have knowledge, I think Chandrayaan was mostly built indigenously. That's why the cost was very less. And if you look at pharmaceuticals, India is known as the pharmacy of the world. But then we do today do value addition, but a lot of basic raw materials we still import, and mostly from China. The company which I chair, we have very successfully done a PLI project for one of the most critical raw material known as penicillin G. 100% import substitution, 100% domestic usage it will be put to, and it's one of the most critical material for manufacture of antibiotics. So nothing more could be so perfectly fitting. See, the PLI scheme itself is designed very naturally. It's like a circular economy. The PLI scheme is substituting all critical raw materials, which is import substitution, which in turn is creating more capacity, which in turn is driving FDI, which in turn is driving more GDP, which in turn is driving more domestic consumption and more export sales. And so it's a perfect circle. So it's very well designed. I think in the sectors where we have unleashed the PLI policies and the more to come, I think India is really taking the right point in terms of accelerating its manufacturing growth. The only point is about how do we collaborate and accelerate collaboration. Collaboration is the only key for innovation. Innovation is supposed to be best achieved with multiple minds and best achieved with multiple diversity of minds. So I think ASEAN and Bharat as a country, as a total unit, can collaborate well. Bharat itself is really innovating. The startup ecosystem has created a lot of patents, and the digital India has created a lot of innovations. So the innovation quotient is just driving the defense clearly. I think I'll only touch upon 4 key areas in a minute. India needs a little more improve the ease of doing business, but one of the key criteria is how do we cut decisions in our legal system soon. That's going to be one of the key factor. If we can probably improve that, our level of manufacturing growth will be much faster. And logistics, internally logistics, we need to improve. And thirst in R&D, we are probably just about 62 billion. Maybe we should go up to 100 billion in R&D. Average about companies spend about 4 to 5%. We should be at 8 to 10% would be very ideal to be a very accelerated growth. I think these are the areas I want to put upon. My time is also up. I think we will now put it to the Q&A. The announcements are that whoever wants to ask a question specific to a speaker, please mention the name. Otherwise, you can address it to anybody. Please mention your question.
And also the questions may be brief and give chance to other people also. Thank you.
Hello and namaste. My question is, I'm Kunal Jain from Tampa, Florida, and I have a healthcare IT BPO company, and we do appreciate that skill development, what you mentioned, Palomaji. But in last 10 years, it's very difficult to find skilled manpower on the ground in India. I've been hearing about it for last 10 years in different platforms, different exhibitions, conferences like this. How do you see this particular skill development, especially in the new upcoming generation, to handle, and anything different government is planning to do? Because simply in last 10 years, whatever the government did, it didn't work. So I really wanted to hear if you have any ideas about that.
Thank you, Mr. Jain, for your questions. I don't think I am the best person to answer that question. Well, And I will say that as somebody who has just read up a lot about these issues, uh, skilling takes time. Skilling takes time. We have the Skill India program. We are investing a lot in terms of training our manpower. Our companies are investing a lot. You know how IT companies in India have invested heavily in training people the way they want. Probably in a few years' time, we will find more skilled manpower, and that is absolutely crucial because the way automation is happening, the way technology is getting adopted, skilling has to be ahead of that, because what we call a job today, tomorrow it may not be called a job. It will be something else will be doing the job, and we have to be very nimble footed. So I add my voice to your concern, and if there is anybody else who has more knowledge to this, please.
I'll take your question. I'm part of the Telangana State Skilling Development. You see, India has 2 years back has done allowed multidisciplinary courses. Earlier, we were stick to engineering, you do only engineering. Now you could take engineering as a major, maybe finance as a minor, or robotics as another minor. So this is going to now create new skills. You learn two skills at the same time, and those minors are all job-oriented skills. It's all not some theory because it's absolutely job-oriented skills. So that's, I think, is a good initiative which they have done. And they've allowed now autonomous. India will have in another 2 years mostly all autonomous college institutions. So they will have a flexibility in terms of quickly structuring their curriculum. So I think that profiles the more ready to employ. I mean, the primary objective is to reduce the gap between education and employability. I'll stop there. I think I'll take your supplement question later.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
evening,
please.
sir. This is
Yeah,
Anil Sharma
please.
from New Delhi. See, my question is, I mean, any of the authority can answer this. You see, India has got this ASEAN FTAs, whatever those are there. Why we have all the time negative, trade deficit in all of them? And in the presentation which Mrs. Tripathi gave, she referred something about rule of origin. So, why this is happening, and why something is not being done there? Is there? We could see that a lot of Chinese companies are actually indirectly uh, misusing that particular route, and it is actually harming this FTA issue a lot. What
Sure.
can be done there?
Sure.
Please.
Want to take? It's already on.
Uh, Thank you for your question. I will try to answer it to the best of my ability. I believe the trade imbalance is also because India continues to import a lot of consumable things, as well as capital goods and intermediate goods, which we further process. And yes, the trade imbalance is a concern that has been flagged. The rules of origin also has been flagged in various forums. There is a process of looking into a review for this, which will have a greater emphasis on trade facilitation, simplification of procedures, etc., which will hopefully happen. When the last summit happened, also this issue, we understand, was discussed between both ASEAN and Bharat, the delegations, and hopefully we will see good results in the coming years. But the concern is well noted. Thank you.
This is Kirti Sharma from Bharat. My question is to Mr. Raghunathan.
Yeah.
Average working woman in the world, this is 42%. And in Asia, it is 70 plus. But in India, it is just 21%. And this 21%, if you see the gap, it is very heavy. So I just want to have your idea, your suggestion that how it can be increased or which segment we should be it for.
Okay. First is I know it's low, but if you look at the ESG, which is the environment, social, and governance standard, which is becoming now the norm. One of the norm is also in terms of women employment, also in terms of not only women, even differently aged people. The employment is very less in our country, but I think initiatives and certain incentives are now slowly getting in for companies to think about increasing it. At least the company I share, we have set a trend that will double in the next 5 years. So that kind of a norm, which is then getting the HR to really process women employees as a preference wherever it is feasible. I mean, in manufacturing, what happens? A lot of places women are still not allowed in the factory. So that's another challenge. And secondly, a lot of states are still not allowed night shift working, and factory works all the 3 shifts. So we do have challenges, but still there are opportunities being created. We have to do a lot more. I do agree perfectly. I mean, we are still not there to level of standards, and hopefully in the next 5 years, we'll see a different change. Thank you.
Thank you for the wonderful session. So my question is to Khun Isara and Khun Sanan as they talked about the EV. So both of them touched on the EV, which is really growing at a great pace. Last year it was at 3%, and this year in Thailand it has grown to 9%. So however, we are seeing that 95% of the market share has already been captured by the industry from China. So what is your view on this? I mean, we have a big setup on ICE also in Thailand, and how will keep the balance to attract future investment on EV from other countries? Khonisara, Khunsaran, anybody?
Well, I would like to take this question. I can tell you that because the Chinese, they would like to relocate any industry to other countries, it means that China plus, especially the EV, Chinese manufacturer, and also they would like, to promote the EV in both Indonesia and Vietnam because they have a bigger population in those countries. But the driver or the user is not popular at all. So what Thailand user of the EV, they would prefer, to try something new. And the Thai government look at this opportunity that try to subsidize, the import duty to the import car from China. So that's why the the driver and also the user in Thailand, it becomes very popular. And now I would say that the EV car imported does not quick enough for the demand of the Thai market. So what is next? I think the EV car manufacturers in China would continue to invest in Thailand more and more. And besides, Tesla also, have the interest to invest in Thailand at all. Also now, even the Toyota and other Japanese car, they keep coming to produce the EV car in the future here. As also the European car, manufacturer, they will also do it here. So I think uh, not only the domestic market is growing, and they have enough, capacity to export their EV car in the future from Thailand as well. This is why the reason, the EV car manufacturing is quite successful. And the Thai government continue, to promote and give the optimized privilege to the EV manufacturer in Thailand. You want to add something more, Hunisara?
I I I I think the Japanese car industry is a little bit behind on the EV. So actually,